Tom Segura and Mark Normand have lost touch with reality. Let's fucking go. If you're watching the stream, you like what you see what you like, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel. If you want to become a member, there's a link in the description too. We're trying to hit 500 members by the end of day 31. We're on day 9 right now. So if you want to support, get a membership, gift the membership. Link is down low in the description. Love you. Let's go.
I'm like 20 years into comedy or whatever, and I still read a comment where somebody's like, is this supposed to be funny? And I'll just write, yes. Like, well, that's why I posted it. I'm a comedian. It's getting laughs in the room. Like, yeah, it's supposed to be funny, but I'm like mad at this person. What's the trick?
I mean, I think it's just like, how do you think a person's...
Hold on. I bet what he's gonna. I love this defense, by the way. I'm gonna stop the clip there. But this defense is probably gonna be just you kind of think of the person as less than yourself. You know, that's what the defense is gonna be. The defense isn't gonna be listen to the argument. Maybe there's some truth to the criticism. Maybe there's some constructive criticism you can pull from the insult, or just ignore it in general. The advice is going to be, imagine that person that's tweeting or commenting at you. They're probably a loser. They probably don't have 17 cars. They probably don't have a Rolex. They probably don't have a fancy studio. That means whatever they have to say about you is irrelevant because they're not rich or famous. I bet he's going to say that.
Life is going. Who spends time going, you suck.
Right.
Do you think it's somebody who has like a lot of shit going on?
Yeah.
And who's doing...
I like how they act as if like saying somebody's shit sucks requires you to be unemployed, requires you to be desolate, requires you to be on the brink of fucking downright poverty, living in a third world country. Like, you can't just quickly write on someone's comments, you suck, while you're in a meeting, whilst you're leading your company, whilst you're at fucking work. No, you can't. You have to be somebody that has infinite amount of time. You're a loser who still happens to have internet access, by the way. You know, like, what? Like, how does that make any sense? Like, you put shit out on the internet. Some people are going to suck your dick and say it's amazing. Some people are going to say you're overrated in your shit. It's just part and parcel of putting stuff out on social media. It's part and parcel on entering into that fucking social media space.
Welcome back to another episode of Comedians Coping with Criticism. This time we've got Tom Segura counseling Mark Normand on how to block out the haters by becoming completely emotionless and learning how to externalize the blame. This episode would have been so much better if Bert was here. First Protect Our Parks replaced Sober October, and now Mark Normand has replaced Bert Kreischer on Two Bears, One Cave. And you know Bert's watching this right now to catch up on what happened while he was away. He skips through all the boring bits called conversation and goes straight to the parts where they're talking about him.
Of course.
That to me was always the mark of lunacy with that guy.
Yeah. And you're like, go see your children. you have never talked about your daughters this way, Bert.
Stick around until the end of this video, Bert.
By the way, even Mark, buddy, yo, booze really does it to you, innit? Mark's a slimish kind of dude, I think, personally, right? Even he's starting to look a bit inflamed. You can tell when these comedians are on tour, innit? You can tell when they're in like a good little, when they're in a good flow, when everything's only up and up, they're booked and busy. I think Mark was recently in London, actually. I think he was in London recently. So you can tell when they're doing well because look how his face is inflamed. Red already, puffiness in the cheeks. When they're enjoying life, you can really tell when they're enjoying.
You have never talked about your daughters this way, Bert.
Stick around until the end of this video, Bert. I've got you covered, buddy. Shitting on you has become mandatory for guests on Two Bears, and we're all here for it. But it was only a couple of weeks ago that Big J Okerson was on the We Might Be Drunk podcast with Mark and Sam.
Big J no longer, by the way, isn't it? Fucking hell, he's not Ozempic, isn't it? Big J is no longer big. Big J is no longer big. He's thin, he's skinny, he's small, J. Fucking hell, Ozempic is doing well for him.
Where he brought up this very channel, saying how he watches it, just like Bert does, to keep up with everything happening in the podcast world. Mark and Sam weren't convinced though. Sam tried to shut it down, even though his producer admitted to his face that he watches my videos, and Mark made the comment that we all don't realize how sensitive comedians are.
You know what's funny when they do that? A lot of comedians do that. They don't like it when other comedians come on their show and admit they watch, like, I don't know, comedy criticism, whatever, commentary, content, whatever this fucking lane is. And I think they do it in a way of like, they think if they kind of starve the content creator of attention, that you'll stop making videos about them. But what they don't realize is that you're not making these videos for them. You're doing it for another audience that doesn't really like them or likes to laugh at them. But they think you're doing it to get their attention. That's that weird narcissism, that weird fucking ego they all have, where they think all of us want to be them. They think we're all secretly closeted fucking comedians who are too scared to go on stage, who don't have the courage to go to an open mic. So the thing that we do to cope is criticize them. It's like, we could just be regular people who just like pointing and laughing at people who are full of shit. And you happen to be the ones, you know? It's not to do with, oh, everyone here wants to be a comedian. Everyone here wants to be a fucking stand-up. Like, no. It's such a weird cope. Like, don't mention them. Don't acknowledge these fucking channels. Don't give them any airtime. It's like, they don't want your airtime. Like, a lot of these channels, especially the big ones like Podcast Cringe, Unique, fucking Too Late to Try. These guys, some of these guys get more views than the actual channels that they comment on. So it must mean a lot of people don't even listen, like you guys in Stream Chat. Unlike myself, because I have to fucking watch this for this fucking stream and stuff, right? It's one of my crosses I have to bear. But a lot of people don't even watch these fucking shows unless they watch them through the lens of a commentary channel. So the whole, oh, don't give them clout, don't talk about them thing is not, it doesn't work, mate. No one wants your clout. I like Dan Soda, or whatever his name, Samario, sorry, not Dan Soda. I like Samario in general, but that's a weird way to kind of do things.
So it looks like Mark is starting to suffer from the same fate as his comedy podcasting buddies, who can't seem to cope with even the slightest criticism of their work. And I've always been a fan of Mark Normand. I think he's one of the few Rogan comedians who still understands the idea.
We got James Banks. I think Norman is relatively normal and chill. Just pretends to be friends with these guys. Hope his career out. Could be wrong. No. I agree. He's relatively normal compared to the other guys, but he still has that thing about criticism. He's still very sensitive. Like that time that they brought up fucking Crackamico. Was it Crackamico they brought up during like a Kill Tony or something? He nearly fainted. He nearly had a heart attack when they brought up the song or they went to play or something. So he's a little bit. He's got
powerful bunch.
Big up Black American.
Thank you.
No, thank you more. Although he's very funny, big up Black American. Although he's very funny and I like him, he is still very sensitive and thin-skinned about any criticism or pushback from fans or viewers, which is oddly weird because, like I said, like the content game on social is that sometimes you put stuff out, people suck you off. Sometimes they say your stuff is shit. The thing that you have to do is not think you're as good as what they say or as bad as what you say. You just keep putting out the stuff. It's not that deep, really. It's not that deep. But for some reason, comedians are very sensitive to any slight pushback or negativity when it comes to their content. But hey, what can they do?
Of a comedy podcast, his work on Protect Our Parks in trolling Rogan is pretty much unmatched at this point. The sad thing is, though, now that he's made it big through multiple JRE appearances, he's starting to sound just like the rest of them.
You know, we get so busy, you know, you got kids, you got the career, you got a TV show, you're all over the place. So like now to hang out with your friends, you almost have to monetize it.
I know.
You have to make it like a podcast just to like get some hang time.
That's 100%. Like if I'm home and someone's like, hey, let's just hang out. I'm like, I can't hang out, dude.
I can't hang out.
Yeah, I just got home. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. My wife's like, well, you never come home. And I'm like, we should do a pod.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
That's what I did. That's right.
Smart.
So you can't hang out with your friends because you just got home from a tour. Isn't that just like working? Just hang out. We all do that. Most of us have full-time jobs or friend or whatever, and we have friends and families. You just make time to hang out with them. To be fair, I think it's just an excuse. I think most comedians have a very weird superiority complex, which is strange because they're court gestures, right? They're essentially clowns, but they have a very inflated sense of self. And they honestly do think that regular people, like Rogan said plenty of times, ad nauseum, regular people just don't cut it. They only want to hang out with comedians. So I think it's just like an excuse that they give to their friends who aren't comedians that, oh, I can't hang out because I'll just go back from a tour. Like, what do you mean? Like, and? Make the time. That's your friend, isn't it? That's someone you regard as family. Make the time. What the fuck level of excuse is that? Also, you work for yourself. Yes, the tour can be exhausting. and taxing in itself, but it's still not harder than a fucking 9 to 5. Let's be real. It's doing something that you fucking enjoy and you're getting paid handsomely for it. Make the time to see your friends. If you don't want to see them, clear, but let's not make excuses.
Course, you get to see your wife.
Actually, no joke, that is sometimes like the most time we'll spend together in a week. And you leave and you're like, we got 20 things to do.
It's sad but true.
Yeah.
Yeah, big up Jack Donny Jr. I didn't want to say that, but I do get that feeling. I do get the feeling a lot of Mark Norman's anxiety with criticism is mostly to do with him having, because he has mentioned in the past, I listen to Choose Story a lot. He has mentioned in the past about how fucked up he gets when he goes on tour, when he used to start anyway, how blackout drunk he'd get and stuff, and the girls he'd hook up with and all the fucking weird experiences he'd had, fucking random girls on the road. So if somebody's getting that fucked up on a regular on the road, mistakes happen, things happen. So most likely there are stories out there, I would imagine, that he doesn't want people to hear about, which is probably why he's so nervous about feedback or commentary from people, because all it takes is one comment. As we saw with Chris D'Elia, all it takes is one bored person at home to start the fucking dominoes, and then you're fucking done.
But at least you can monetize this. Now you're getting paid to hang out with your wife, which, that's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
God damn it.
God damn, lady. Did you see...
That's some of the saddest shit I've ever heard come out of Mark's mouth. Imagine not being able to hang out with your buddies unless you're making money. Like, how much fucking money do these guys need? They act as if every minute of their lives has to be accounted for, like they're billing their wives in 6-minute increments like a lawyer. I remember when Whitney Cummings brought this up on Flagrant a couple of years ago and got completely shut down by Andy and the Toy Story boys.
They must have a lot of expenses or really expensive habits, because that's a good point he made. Like, how much money do these motherfuckers need? There's not an ad or an opportunity to make money they miss out on. They it's very rarely that they pass on opportunity to fucking shill or grift, whatever it may be out there. So these guys are no strangers to turning down money. They don't do that. They take money from all places. There is never a place they're going to say no to. So I wonder where all of that funds are going to. Like, where is it going? You know what I mean? You make millions on tour already. Some of them are making millions from the podcast, but then they just keep wanting to keep making more and more and more. For what? Like, maybe to drink, maybe the lifestyle in general. Maybe that's a big part of it. If you're flying private from place to place, business class from place to place, maybe it all adds up. But yeah, that's a really good point he made there.
We're in a very high risk profession, and it used to be, I think, the way that we stayed sane was having offline conversations in the, in the green room, in the hallway, and now it's like, save it for the pod. Like, we're monetizing all of our conversations, like, for public consumption, which is great. It's healing a lot of people. People love it. Can I finish before you roll your eyes? Can I finish before you roll your eyes?
That makes so much sense. Think about all the times you've heard Bert tell Tom or Andrew Schultz tell Joe Rogan something on a podcast and they had absolutely no idea about it. I always think to myself, how the fuck don't you know that about one of your best friends? And it's usually something fairly important. It's like they rock up to the studio and literally press record as soon as they get there. I mean, Joe Rogan still hasn't even seen Andrew Schultz's latest comedy special.
My favorite form of entertainment by far is stand-up comedy. Like, straight up, I'm a fanboy of comedians. Andrew Schultz, did you watch his?
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
No.
So how do you take infertility, right? And just, it's not really...
You know what's funny about that, thinking about that? I wonder if, like, not watching things is like a form of, like, narcissism and arrogance as well. This idea that no other entertainment apart from my own is worth my time. Especially not for my peers, like, because they all do this. I've not watched it. It's like, bro, how can you not watch it? Like, how you not have time to watch a special when all you have is free time outside of your podcast? You do nothing really. I mean, you don't work a regular job, so you have a lot more free time in the day to do what you fucking want, and you're also in that industry. How do you not have an idea of what the person said or watch a couple of clips? Zero. I wonder if they all don't do it because it kind of shows that you're a really big dog, You don't watch anything because you're just all about you and focusing on what you're doing. So I wonder if that's what it is, or if it's just, redacted shit.
It's a very funny subject, and make it is incredible.
Bro brought his knee pads to JRE and left with Rogan's PIN number. But it just goes to show how fake the world of comedy podcasting is. They all claim to be super tight and hang out all the time, but the reality is they have to justify everything in financial terms.
That's like Rogan and Brendan, isn't it? When Brendan went on Rogan and Brendan didn't know Rogan's kids' names, or the fact that, you know what I mean, he was just completely clueless about his kids, which is weird because they said they're best friends. You know, it's yeah. Big up Chris Mack. Well, Chris Mack. Big up Black American. Money is a resource. It's influence. It's status. It's safety. It's power. Money. Yep. Very, 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 very true. But for me, I just see it. I see it as more so as like I see it more as a resource, as a way to kind of allow you to kind of do more with your time. Because I've always exchanged my time for money. Money for me, or getting to that place where I'm comfortable, is more so the ability to then start doing more of the things I want to do during the day, and not have to do the things I don't want to do in order to have the money to do the things I want to do. You know what I mean? That's where the money comes from me. It's less about having fancy stuff and living in a gold house and driving a fucking Lambo. Not interested in that in the slightest. Don't care about jewelry, don't care about watches, all that sort of shit. It's more so the lifestyle, being able to be like, okay, cool, I moved to the beat of my own drum. And I thought a lot of these comedians were like that too. It's kind of like a renegade artist kind of vibe. But a lot of these guys aren't. A lot of these guys are just like pure, I want to say capitalist. Maybe capitalist is the right term. They just want to make money. Like, they just want to be rich, you know, for the sake of being rich. And they also want to buy fancy stuff. So a lot of these guys start off acting as if they just want to, I just want to sell out theaters and be in my fans and stuff. But really, they want to be Hollywood stars, you know? They want to get invited to all the fancy award shows. They want to be on red carpets. They want to date a really hot woman. Probably maybe a celebrity, a model or something, you know? But unfortunately, I think those type of things don't help you be funny. That's the unfortunate part. The more comedians you hang out with, the less civilians or normal folk that you're around, and the more you hang out in your own little bubble, it's just impossible to have the beat, to feel, to be in touch with the zeitgeist, to be in touch with current sentiment, feeling around there in the public. It's just hard. And then to kind of relay that in a comedy, it's almost impossible. That's probably why Joe Rogan never be funny. He's just too rich.
Do you think all of the assassins who hang out in the mothership green room at Rogan's club would be there if they weren't getting paid? These are the guys who supposedly turned their backs on Hollywood to do their own thing, only to recreate Hollywood's toxic ecosystem in Austin, where everything's a transaction.
Exactly.
The worst part for me is how stupid they think we all are. That's always been a gripe of mine, whether it's Rogan calling anyone who criticizes him a mentally ill loser who works at 7-Eleven or Subway, or when Tom Segura went full scorched earth when some of his fans told him that nobody gives a fuck about his luxury watch and supercar.
You know what's funny about that comment, by the way, which is really interesting? I would imagine the majority of fans who've made these guys millionaires, and in Rogan's case, close to a billionaire, are working working class folks. I'd imagine most people that help these guys become millionaires and close to billionaires are middle class and working class folk. Why do I say that? Because I noticed when I had a strict 9 to 5 where I had to travel, especially I had to commute. Now my 9 to 5s are a little bit more local, but when I had to commute to work more than half an hour, I noticed, I'm sure you guys are sure the same, I noticed I listened to a lot more podcasts because I had to commute more than half an hour to and from work. I was also working at a desk, so I had my headphones in. So I listened to more podcasts. So I consume it. So I bet you, times that by whatever the fucking population is of people that listen to podcasts, I bet you that's the main reason why these guys became so wealthy so quickly. Because a lot of us work and a lot of us want entertainment to distract us from our work. To kind of, whatever. And they provided it for us at that time. But then they look down on those very same fans who helped them become, as insanely wealthy as they are right now. Which has always made me laugh because it's like, bro, who do you think listens to you? The people that listen to you aren't these like go-getters. No, not go-getters. They're not these fucking, I don't know who they think they are, but, they're regular people who have to work and they want a distraction, you provide it. The people that are like you aren't listening to you. They're out living their life. They're not listening to you.
Collections. According to these guys, if you don't find everything they say funny, it's all your fault.
I'm like 20 years into comedy or whatever, and I still read a comment where somebody's like, "Is this supposed to be funny?" And I'll just write, "Yes."
Yeah.
Like, well, that's why I posted it. I'm a comedian. It's getting laughs in the room. Like,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be funny, but I'm like mad at this person.
I think I did for a long time too.
Yeah.
And then it's also so much more pleasant not to engage.
I know.
Like don't get it worked up.
Yeah.
You just see it and you just kind of go.
Big up Mech. If they don't watch each other's specials, if they don't watch each other's specials, they have plausible deniability against joke thieving. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't give them that much credit. I just think they're lazy. And I also think it's a lot of arrogance. I just don't watch anyone's things because I'm only focused on my stuff. I'm the most amazing person, you know. I don't think it's to do with the joke thieving thing. I think they're just lazy and they don't watch stuff. I would imagine a lot of them probably don't even watch back their own specials. They just get editors to kind of put it together. They do one run or they record it a couple of times, pick the best fucking recording and then just go with it. They probably don't even go over their material, you know? Because if they did, we'd get far better specials, you know? We'd get far better fucking content. I don't think they do. I don't think they have that level of criticism to themselves, you know? They don't really have it. I don't think so.
What's the trick?
I mean, I think it's just like you're getting to a point where once you do stand up long enough, not everyone's ever going to like you.
Yeah.
Ever.
Sure.
Like not everyone likes whoever you want. Chris Rock,
right.
Seinfeld.
That's true.
Like there's people who go like, I hate this person. I hate what they're saying. They're not funny.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, if like the top of the food chain gets that, you know, the rest of us have to.
I love that suggestion because it's like there are some people who don't get the level of hate you get because they're just more likable. I love the cope. Let's go to the extremes. Let's compare ourselves to the top echelon of entertainers. Because they get hate, we get hate too. No. Yes, some of them are going to get hate because they're top echelon people, but sometimes they also get hate because they're assholes. Or they're saying, you know what I mean? And Tom's a good example of it, right? That whole pause era he was going for, a lot of people kind of were turned off by him and have now seen him differently and can't look at him the same. So that will kind of influence the way they kind of ingest whatever content he puts out there. And they're going to leave comments kind of with that level of fucking ingestion kind of tinged on some of the comments they say. Nothing to do with you being super successful, everything to do with them thinking you're fucking annoying.
To get it too.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going, are those guys engaging with people who
No,
of course not. So I just go, I'll post the thing. And if someone doesn't like it, I just go, yeah, cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Neil Brennan had that great joke.
Yeah. Big up Boronda 420. Wagwan G. Hope you're good.
Where he said, if you look at Beethoven's Fifth Symphony or whatever the famous one is.
Big up Shades Cow. I think more people have made money off of Rogan than he has made himself. More people have. Yeah, that makes sense because I guess talk about collectively, right? If you add up all the money everyone's made from appearing on Rogan or being associated with Rogan, it probably outstrips whatever he's made himself. Cool, but he still made a lot of money. You know, that guy's made a lot. He's already like half a billy up from Spotify deals alone. He's already half a billy up. If you believe the rumors, that first Spotify deal he got wasn't 200; it was like 3 million allegedly to license it. He didn't even have to give them his IP. They licensed it for a number of years. Then he re-upped again for fucking 200. So he's already half a billy up only from Spotify alone. Just imagine everything he gets from ads and sponsors and tickets and Netflix deals and shit. Like he's made a lot. He's made a lot himself too. More than you could probably ever spend in a lifetime.
The first comment is gay. And you're like, well, there you go. It's like this beautiful piece of music that's lasted for centuries.
Yeah.
And we're like,
this is gay.
Exactly.
Big up Joe from MIA as well. Big up.
So that's all you need to know, folks.
I went and looked up that bit from Neil Brennan. He doesn't actually say the top comment was gay. He said that there was a Beethoven Fifth Symphony video on YouTube with 10,000 dislikes. And his point was that dislikes don't mean much anymore because Beethoven's Fifth is one of the greatest pieces of music in history. It was a bit from a stand-up show. He wasn't actually comparing comedians to Beethoven like Mark just did. The cope from these guys is just next level, and I actually thought Tom had a pretty fair perspective when he was saying that once you reach a big enough critical mass, not everyone's going to like you, so you just have to deal with it. But then, as usual, Tom told us what he's really thinking.
And also, this is the other one. how would you think? How do you think a person's life is going who spends time going, you suck?
Right.
Do you think it's somebody who has like a lot of shit going on?
Yeah.
And who's doing well?
Good point.
I mean, like,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
The funny thing is, wherever Tom goes on the internet, whether it's a video with a watch dealer reviewing his collection, or he's driving a new supercar around London, even just a clip from his comedy specials, there's always a ton of comments basically saying, you suck. I mean, have you guys seen pretty much anything Bert Kreischer posts anywhere? Or when Rogan posts anything comedy related on Instagram and Twitter, 90% of the comment sections are just roasting them because they suck. But of course, it's because we're all mentally ill losers with nothing going on in our lives. It couldn't possibly be because ever since Tom got rich and got a gym membership, he became a massive douchebag.
It's interesting that they can never understand that, right? They can never accept that maybe they have turned some of their fans off naturally over a period of time. Happens all the time. It's like a favorite band you've never. It's like your favorite band that no one else has ever heard of, but then they all of a sudden pop and they become super big, and then naturally the fame maybe changes some of the members, or maybe changes the music and you don't like them as much. They can't turn around and say, oh, the fans are haters, the fans don't know music. No, they know, they just don't like this modern interpretation. And most bands, from what I've seen and heard of artists, musicians especially, they're very accepting and understanding of it. They're like, cool, like maybe you like that, like I think The Weeknd said something similar, like maybe you might like my House of Balloons era, but now I'm not House of Balloons broke anymore, so I can't make that music. I think he said that in the interview, something along those kind, to paraphrase. I'm not House of Balloons broke. I'm not House of Balloons new or green in the industry. So that music, I can't do it again. I have to do whatever I'm doing now because my life, my experiences, whatever has changed. And that's what's influencing the art that I put out. But if you don't like it, I understand. But that other music exists. So if you like that stuff, just go back and listen to that stuff. But these guys, these comedians will accuse you of being mentally ill. They'll accuse you of being broke. They'll accuse you of all these other nonsense just to make you, just to kind of, remove any kind of accountability they may need or have in terms of why you got to that place. Because if you're commenting on these people's videos, or if you're going on their socials, I don't know about you, but if you're making the effort to comment negatively on somebody's profile, you're probably a fan. Because I know if I'm not a fan, like these locals, I don't think I've never left a single comment on a DSP video, Wings of Redemption video, Boogie video, but I watch a lot of detractor content about them. But if you do leave comments on these people's pages, it's probably fair to assume that you probably like them deep down. So if somebody's willing to leave you a comment saying, oh, you suck now, if you're Tom Segura, maybe you should think that might be a fan that I've turned off. That might be a former fan that has fell out of love with the stuff I was into. I wonder why, instead of just accusing them of being fucking pores.
Speaking of douchebags, Bert, I didn't forget about you, buddy. Once Tom and Mark got onto the topic of how much comedy has changed since they started, it didn't take long for your name to come up.
Yeah, we had when I was starting, thank God, there was no reference for get this clip up and going.
I know.
We didn't have any of that. It was really, I got so in on the club system. And when I had seen, I worked with some people that sold out a weekend.
Yes.
I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. They're getting too distracted.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse because you have the internet. You can just put it all out there. You can expose yourself, get a ton of fans.
I love how that theater thing, I love how the money is such a big motivator for these comedians, isn't it? I saw what they make on a weekend. I was like, hold on, how much? And you're that shit. You're making that much. It's never about entertaining the fans, putting on a good show, comparing your show to legendary, or comparing your comedy to other legendary comedians, trying to construct a set that maybe can be seen as or compared to some of the greatest sets of all time when it comes to stand-up comedy. It's just about, oh shit, I heard this guy did this much on his tour, and I was thinking, oh shit, I want to do that. So then I start, it's never about the fucking material. It's never about the material. It's never about the fans. It's never about the show. It's always about the dollar bill, y'all.
But also, anonymity is a gift. Get good in the shadows first,
Totally.
but they want it too quick. It's sad. It's depressing, but I think it's just the way it is now.
Yeah, that is really crazy. Oh my God, can you imagine how much Bert would have posted?
Oh God, I know. Jeez, that would be scary.
You've toured with him
many times.
I'm assuming you've had like long nights with him, right?
Oh my God, so many nights in Europe were wild. We went to a strip club in Copenhagen, I think, called the Waterloo, and he's getting a lap dance FaceTiming Leanne. And you're like, this is crazy. I mean, he came to my bachelor party. That was insane. He'll be like, after party at this bar. And I'm like, we're going somewhere else, right? And he's like, no, we're going there.
That
Jesus,
to me was always the mark of lunacy with that guy. Was when he like started to like really sell tickets, and then I'd see a video and I was like, what's going on in that bar? He's like, oh, at the end of my show I told everyone, let's go to this bar. I'm like, you told the show to go to the bar?
That's insane.
He does not like hanging out with his fans, innit? He fucking hates regular people. I understand what Bert was doing was crazy, but I love the pure disdain and disgust he has in his voice for like hanging out with the pause outside of the show, or even communicating with them. Like, what? You want me to hang out with fans?
Insane.
And you're like, go see your children. you have never talked about your daughters this way, Bert.
I just was like, I go, to me, I'm like, everything is just based on being tired. I'm like, aren't you just tired? And he's like, no.
He isn't. That's why he has to tour with like younger people.
Yeah.
Because they can keep up with him. It's crazy.
It's insane.
It's going to be sad when he's gone.
How soon? What's your bet?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to spill the tea here, but every time I've been to his house, I can't help but notice the amount of pill bottles next to his bed. It's like 38 of those orange pill bottles, and you're like, is all that for your liver? What is that?
Funny he says that because somebody actually posted on the Rogan subreddit the other day. I just saw it. Somebody posted on the Rogan subreddit this. Have you seen this post? There we go. Bert Kreischer needs Sober October, right? Bert Kreischer needs Sober October, and the comments are fucking delightful. Absolutely delightful. But look at that picture. Look at that fucking picture. Look at how red he looks. Look at how glassy his eyes are. Look at how swollen his entire face is. And it made me realize, right? The human body is very, 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 very durable and resilient, isn't it? Because let's speak candidly. I'm surprised because I now believe that Bert drinks as much as he says and maybe more than he actually likes to admit. For longest period of time, I always thought it was a bit of a gimmick and fake the amount of times he says he drinks just to cut for the bit. But I believe it now. I believe that he's a proper stone cold alcoholic. It's pretty impressive that he's still alive. Let's be fair. Considering how much he drinks, considering his profession, considering where his profession is mostly, done in clubs and bars and stadiums and theaters and shit, places where you can always buy booze. He's always the fucking headliner, so he's always getting stuff for free. Plus, he's got his own fucking vodka brand. It's actually a miracle that this guy's still alive. If you think about it, it's actually a miracle. But also goes to show just how much fucking abuse your body, your organs, your everything can take. Because how is he still walking when he drinks as much as he says he drinks, or even more than he says he drinks? Because he doesn't definitely admit some certain things. He's definitely an alcoholic type of guy that hides bottles. He's the type of alcoholic that kind of hides bottles, puts them in service so no one calls him out on the shit. But yeah, this guy does a lot of boozing. That's for sure.
Norm Macdonald's out, but Bert's still cruising.
Bert's journey to an inevitable premature death is going to be one of the most well-documented downfalls in history. Every single person who meets him says,
"Look at that stomach, bro. I'm just too vain. I have too many cool clothes I want to wear. There's no shadow. There's no doubt. There's no way I could get to that level. Look at that belly, bro. Fucking hell. That is insane. Like, absolutely insane. And I think there's something also very, like, disrespectful to the gift you've been given, right? Meeting fucking Rogan, becoming a comedian, growing up relatively rich, He's been given so many blessings. I think you're almost like disrespecting the blessing. You're pissing on all the work your dad did. You're pissing on the opportunity, the blessing that you got to meet Rogan and stuff, the era that you came up in LA comedy to get yourself this fat. Like, there's no excuse. When you're rich as Bert is, you could have somebody in your house making you tasty, nutrient rich, healthy fucking food that you could be eating every day. You could have a person helping you work out half an hour to an hour a day easily to maintain some level of like decent shape. There's no really like this body shape, this physique is more understandable if you're a regular person. If you're a regular person, a pores, as fucking Tom Segura would say, who's working a deadbeat job and trying to look after your family, maybe a family that you secretly hate, and you just keep clocking in, clocking out, I get it. Sometimes you need to unwind after this fucking hard day at work. You want to knock back a few, do what you want to do. I have all the sympathy for people, the regular jobs and look like this. But if you're a multi-millionaire for doing stand-up comedy and you look like that, that's a shame.
The exact same thing. How is it possible that this guy is still alive? If overextending your welcome was a person, it would be Bert Kreischer.
That's what I said.
And just like Joe Rogan and Tom Segura, Bert figured out early on in his career that if you get everyone you know on your payroll, you'll have friends for life. These guys are like the Italian mafia, where all the made men send a cut of their earnings up the chain, and in return they have their security and welfare guaranteed by the family. You earn your stripes at the mothership, kiss the ring on JRE, then pay your dues on Kill Tony. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you...
Big up Podcast Cringe, that was brilliant. Big up fucking Podcast Cringe, that was brilliant. I do think, I agree with, I forgot who said in the stream chat, I do actually agree. I do think Mark is a bit of a chameleon. He's a bit of a shapeshifter. He's a bit of a shapeshifter. He's a bit of a people pleaser. I think depending on who he's with or who he's interviewing or who he's sitting down with, he changes his stance and opinions. But when he's on his own show, Cheers with Stories, or doing his own thing, his real true stuff comes out. But I don't think he even believes half the thing he says. He's just saying it because, you know, it's those type of guys that he's talking to. The Berts, the fucking Mark, Tom Segura's and stuff. So, yeah, that's where we're at. But, yeah, some insane fucking advice from Tom to Mark about ignoring the haters, which I don't think he's probably going to listen to. Good thing to say that. Big up the stream chat. Please like the stream, subscribe to the channel, help a brother out. That'd be much appreciated. If you like what you see what you like, do those two things. I would appreciate that so much.